you're like us and you've been feeling stuck, maybe even lost, feel like life just doesn't fit you anymore, we see you. You might be someone who's done everything right. You have the career, the goals, the grind, but deep down inside, something's just missing, right? You feel like something's off. Well, today's video is for you. We're going to walk you through exactly why this happens, what it really means, and how to break it down so you can start living the life that you envision and that you dream of for yourself. To provide clarity, a peace of mind, and purpose, let's get into it. Welcome to Cerebral Pundits Podcast. My name is Casey. I'm your co-host, joined by my co-host, Avita Miller. Avita, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. We're going to talk about a lot of fun things, personal for both of us. Talking about feeling lost, feeling like you are not exactly sure where you're going,
Yeah.
like you're drowned out. A lot of good messages today. So I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. I'm big on alignment, so this is perfect.
Yeah,
Great.
this fits exactly what we are going through personally in our lives and like what we're moving towards. So
Yeah.
let's kind of get into it if you don't mind.
Sure.
So let me take you back to a moment in my life where, it looked on the outside like I might have been successful, but inside I kind of felt like just deeply disconnected.
Yeah.
I remember waking up and kind of dreading the day, overthinking every decision, questioning myself constantly, and thought maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I need to, fix myself. Maybe I need to, switch things up. But deep down inside, it was just I was feeling like lost. I was feeling like there was like a lack of purpose, and there was lack of a synergy with where I wanted to be, with where I was.
Yeah.
And I thought I was broken, but truth is, I wasn't broken. I was just misaligned.
Yeah.
And so I want to start there with you. Like, have you had that feeling before?
Oh, absolutely. I think I've had it probably many times, honestly. And I think sometimes it is a bit more heavy or extensive than others. Sometimes it could be you're just having a day or say a week or two that something just doesn't feel right. And other times, to me, it's more of a phase. It's a phase in life where you're like, this could be months. You're sitting there, like you said, and you're just like, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel like this? What am I doing that's not right? And you can't quite place your finger on it because, to your point, maybe things are going right, maybe they're not, and you're like, okay, but even if I fix this, am I truly going to feel at peace? Really, I think is what it comes down to.
Yeah, so it's interesting because even moving out here, I live in Dallas, Texas now. Before moving to Dallas, like I had a lot of things going right, but I just felt
Yeah.
like something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And moving out here, the first few months, I'm not gonna lie, were miserable. First few months were miserable. I was homesick. I was missing a bunch of stuff. Um, and then I found like a small group of people that really kind of started to lighten things up. But
Yeah.
most importantly, I started to kind of go after things that really brought me joy and passion. And that's when I felt like I started to feel a change.
Yeah.
And I say that because too often we put so much emphasis and success on all the materialistic things and status, right? But I think that having clarity and purpose are the biggest things that kind of drive that. And I feel like that this is like the first time in life where I feel like, okay, I feel like I'm striving towards that purpose, and I'm having a little bit more and more clarity with where I'm going.
Yeah. I love that.
So
It's a journey.
so it is, and that realization is kind of what helped change everything, and it set me on the journey to kind of get unstuck. And I think that's part of our message today is like, how do you get unstuck, and how do you learn from it, and how do you teach it? So,
Yeah.
um, Avita, my question for you is, I want to know, like, when was like your last aha moment to where you felt like, all right, I might be stuck now, but I'm starting to see like there's something more to this.
Yeah. I've actually experienced this recently. So this is very current for me. Like, I had a path where I had uh, found a career of being a TC, and that kind of became almost my identity for a little bit. And there hit this phase where I just, like you said, I felt I felt stuck. I tried to book coaching calls. I was like, maybe I just need to work harder. Maybe I need to do this or that. And it just felt like, yeah, this isn't it. I don't think I like this, you know? And I was like, I think I can do it. But I really just liked the people I was around in that setting. And like you were talking about, you know, we've talked about finding community. And I think when I would look back, all the things I enjoyed was like the people I was around. It wasn't necessarily the work. It didn't quite fully fulfill me in the way that I wanted to. And so I mean, honestly, it's like been months. I mean, this is not like you just wait a couple days and, oh, we're good. It was months of me trying to search and figure out, like, do I need more defined goals, or do I need to niche down, or do I need to try different things? Like, what the heck do I do? And I think eventually, you know, people talk about, sometimes what you're meant for can come around organically. And I don't think that there's necessarily like, I have like one calling or, you know, like that type of a deal. But, you know, organically, it kind of started coming up. Like, I enjoy social media, and what could I do with it? I think, you know, I hit a point where, you know, there was one night where I call it was like my scientist moment. The crazy where you're up
Yeah.
and the laptop and the whiteboards, and you're like, it's coming together. And I feel like that
Yeah.
for me was kind of like, wait a second, people need
You
help,
know,
and I can help. And it was like, okay, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this.
you know what I like, that one of the analogies I like to use, it's almost equivalent to like a superhero, right? Before they get their
Mm,
powers, right? Right.
yes.
So like, you know, your purpose is greater than what you're doing. So one of
Yeah.
my favorite characters is Batman. So Batman was rich his whole life, right? Like he wanted to avenge his family, obviously.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until, you know, in a sense, he was kind of called out, and it wasn't until like he decided to become quote unquote the Batman that he really started to feel like that sense of purpose and that sense of like higher calling.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in my previous kind of life, I did a lot of like personal training and group training and a lot of coaching. And the one thing that was systematic in my approach, and that I can religiously consistently say to this day, is you're not stuck because you lack motivation or willpower. You're stuck because you're out of sync.
Mm,
And too often we're out of sync with a version of our life that we want to be versus where we
mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we feel like that want and that need are necessarily kind of butting heads, but at the same time we're so out of sync with our reality. And I think we have to come to terms with our reality first and foremost in order to kind of drive down that path for that calling.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
we narrowed it down to 4 steps. How's this look? Four. Okay, 4 steps. All right. So we're going to call this the misalignment map. And these are the 4 steps to kind of create some alignment with your life. And let me know which one applies to you. So,
Sure.
Avita, number one, you're following someone else's blueprint that's not your own.
Mm.
How often do we see this? Especially in social media. Like you're
Oh,
scrolling, you're scrolling. And we've talked about this on numerous podcasts before. We're
yeah.
seeing someone else's level 10 when we're at level 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also think of like, it's so easy to compare yourself,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
also easy to get lost in the everyday flow as well. So when I hear this, I also think of you're at work and you know, you're doing whatever your boss says, or maybe you're at home, you got to do what the family wants or whatever. And some of these things are just part of life and maybe necessary at times, but it's like you don't want to step back and realize everything you're doing all day, every day is for someone else, or because you think you should do it, or they told you to do it, or whatever. It's like, how much of this are you doing because you would like to, or it's headed to where you want to go?
Number two, we all have, well, a lot of us have iPhones. And what happens if you don't update your iPhone, right? It starts malfunctioning, it doesn't work, it's slow. So,
Mm,
number two is you're operating from outdated programming.
mm,
Outdated programming. Sorry, let me say that again. You're operating from outdated programming. What that means is you have these guidelines, you have these rules. Well, I can't do this. Well, I never do this.
yeah.
Or I'm always do this. Like, who says we can't change that up? Like, we're operating from old fear,
Yeah.
we're operating from old rules. from old society stimulations that we're put onto ourselves. Like we're operating from all these
Yeah.
old structures and infrastructures that we're putting in, surrounding ourselves with. Like we need to change that now, and that starts with just taking action today.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, you're carrying mental clutter. So
Ooh.
that's like equivalent to having a backpack on, and you ever go to school and you got all your textbooks and all your backpacks. We didn't have lockers for the
I was
longest,
that
right?
kid.
You
Same.
got all your books.
Walkers.
You got all your books, and then you realize I didn't even need my textbook today. Like, why I got all these books? I don't even need this book today. Or
I
you got
remember
that
parents
heavy,
like, "You're gonna break your back. Why do you have to bring all of these?" And we had,
man.
you'd have like 4 or 5 like thick textbooks, and
Especially that math book. That
you're
math book was
carrying
always
them
thick.
around. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'm like 4'6", carrying 50 pounds on my back, hunched over.
right?
But what happens is we're carrying that mental clutter in our everyday lives. We're
Yeah.
overthinking. We have fear of success, which is something I struggle with sometimes. We
Mhm.
have perfectionism, and most importantly, we have self doubt.
Yeah.
And as we continue to move forward, like you're going to see more and more material covering just those 4 parameters there. We got coaching programs and stuff coming down the line, but carrying that mental clutter, that extra burden per se, after a while, like that wears on you. What are
Oh,
your thoughts on that?
absolutely. No, it's huge. It's huge because I think, like the first couple steps, it's easy to think maybe you hit a point of awareness of, okay, I'm living somebody else's life or dream or what have you. But I think sometimes a lot of us run into this brick wall of, okay, I'm ready. I want to change, or you get the program, or you get a coach or whatever it is, you buy the groceries, you're going to finally eat healthy, and then we don't do it. Or you do it for a couple days and then you fall off the wagon, you're beating yourself up over it. And so I think, myself included, like I struggle with all of these things. I'll be quite frank. I do. I
Yeah.
think I've made a lot of progress in it by just, like those kind of steps of like first having an awareness, also just learning, when we talk about alignment, learning kind of where I function best or what things, stop me up to kind of almost like hack my own life, if you will. But yeah, I
Mhm.
think this is a huge one that, I think many of us are dealing with some form of this. And we didn't even list all of them, but I think that's what creeps in. It's when it's you versus you and you're in your head. How do you overcome that?
So the reason I asked that question before our last one is because you transition right into it. The number 4th part for the misalignment map is you don't have internal clarity.
Mm-hmm.
So the outside world feels so chaotic and overbearing, and you just feel like you can't go any further, or like you're stuck in a bubble, right?
Yeah.
Like who am I to do this, right? I'm not sure. Like this person's already doing it. How am I supposed to do it,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to bite them. I don't want to do exactly what they're doing. Well, they're probably doing exactly what someone else is doing,
Mhm.
right? So I
Yeah.
think that in bringing it back together, number 1, we're following someone else's blueprint. Number 2, you're operating from outdated programming.
Mm.
Number 3, you're carrying mental clutter. And number 4, you don't have an internal clarity. Out of those 4, what would you say that you struggle with the most, and what do you say that you're working on the most?
Number 3.
Number 3, the mental clutter.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess maybe the internal clarity, but I guess to
yeah.
me, I'm like I hear a lot even from others that like I've heard for many years. They're like, "Ooh, you have really good self-awareness," or things like
Mhm.
that. So I think I'm gaining clarity, but I do think that the mental clutter it's like you're battling it every day. You
Yeah.
know, it could be anything. It can take the form of, do you feel worthy? Do you feel confident? Do you,
Mhm.
are you overthinking it? I mean, perfectionism is huge for me. I'm one of those that are like, I'm all or nothing. And sometimes I have to find the middle ground. Like, no,
Yeah.
just keep trucking along. And so, yeah, I think, or the anxiety over things that to others, it's like, why are you worried about this? but in your mind, you're just like, it's like a level 10 and it doesn't need to be.
So this is where everything has to shift,
Mm,
right? Because I struggle with the number 3 as well.
yeah.
And mine is actually fear of success. I've realized that a little bit more and more. Is
Mm,
I'm okay with being successful, but like when it gets to a certain level, I kind of cringe a little bit and I got to get over that hump, right? And that's something that I'm actively working on and doing some things from like a habits standpoint and a process standpoint to actually improve that.
yeah.
But so I feel stuck, right? We feel stuck, but getting unstuck, it's not about adding more to your plate, right? I feel like sometimes that's a misconception. Like like I need to get unstuck. I need to start doing this. I need to start doing this. Sometimes it's as simple as stopping doing something,
Yeah.
right? And changing, and I'm going to use the word decode, right? We'll come back to that in further episodes. Decoding your inner narrative that's been defining and really driving your life. What does
Yes.
that mean, Casey? That's, no one uses decode. Well, I'm going to be using it and I'm going to talk about that more down the road. But
Yeah.
what story are we telling ourselves?
Absolutely. I
When
was
we,
thinking that
well,
earlier when you were breaking these down, where I'm like, it's the narrative that
it's
you've
the
built.
narrative.
Like, and they say also your perception is your reality, which is
Yeah.
why it can be so difficult that we can't compare to other people's. You can't compare your journey, or if you share with somebody, they might not get it. You're kind of like you offload a story or you share something you're going through, and sometimes people are supportive. It's not to say they're like a jerk to you about it, but
Yeah.
they're kind of like, I think you'll be all right, and you're sitting there like, I'm in the thick of this, or they're like, what's the big deal?
Mhm.
Just quit the job or just do this or just, and it makes it sound so simple, and it's not for lack of caring necessarily, or, that they don't know, but your perception is a reality. And this is a narrative that you've most likely built for years and years and years.
That
And
part.
I feel like it's that almost like that neuroscience too, where you've like built it up because you've reiterated it to yourself so many times that you truly believe in this. So you have to kind of, to your point, decode it and pull back all the layers to go, okay, we're actually going to carve out a new path, head somewhere
Mhm.
different this time, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So quick story on this,
Sure.
and I won't get too deep in it. I'm man of faith, right?
Mm.
And growing up, I was one of those kids like, why would you always got to go to church? Like we always in church, right?
Yeah.
But my mom used to make me read. I used to call them the I ams, and there's like a list of like 25,
Mm.
lines.
Yeah.
I am this. I am a child of God. I am blessed, highly favored. I am above. And she used to have me read the I ams to myself all the time. And as an adult, and so I was very confident in myself. And as an
Mhm.
adult, I had thought about that the other day. It's like, oh, she was conditioning me for my own self-development, for my own self-improvement, for times when I felt like I hit rock bottom, for times when, I
Mhm.
felt like I can't go any further. No, I need to remind myself, I am still this. I
Yeah.
am still this. So when we talk about decoding, like when we talk about the narrative or the story for ourselves, like
Yeah.
this, it's like we're opening up a notebook and we're writing everything that we can't do right away before we start to write what we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I'm going to walk 2 miles today.
Yeah.
Then I missed the 2 miles yesterday, but I'm going to walk one today because I only did one yesterday. Like
Yeah.
we change that, and yes, it's a shift in mindset, it's a shift in logic, but the thing about it is we control all of that.
Mhm. Or I think even like practicing the gratitude too, like to that
Yeah,
example. I've been trying to
yeah.
lately work on this too, where it's like, okay, are you a marathon runner? No, but you know what? I am grateful for my
Hmm.
feet and my body that allows me to move or allows me to even just go on this walk. Perfect. Let's
Yeah.
start there. And just trying to remind myself the little things of like, be grateful that we can breathe. Be grateful, and whatever it is for you, of starting at the basics, because I feel like it starts to snowball, where then you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll walk a little further, or maybe I'll try this.
Hmm.
You start
Hmm.
to kind of build yourself up or remind you of like all the things we have, as opposed to looking for or focusing on what we do not.
So when we drive the car, right, we're compounding momentum. We're looking to find some accountability, ideally an accountability partner, and then we start to feel reinvigorated. Right. So like that momentum is reinvigorating. So when you do something once, most of the time you probably want to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do you do something that you enjoy just one time and not have that drive to do it again.
Yeah.
So something as simple as changing that logic, that mindset, you see some form of success, like you're going to want to continue that process.
Absolutely.
So alignment, right back to the whole alignment, it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It just means that your life starts to reflect who you are,
Yeah.
right? For progress over perfection, we've heard that so many different times. But with all that, you start to feel grounded. You start to feel like clear on what you want and what you deserve, more importantly, and you stop chasing validation. You start to embody your value in this world. I think that in itself like goes a long way with me.
I think that's huge too. I mean, I think if we can
Yeah.
all even just attempt to get closer to that, I mean, I think that's huge, right?
Yeah.
To just have that, like you said, not needing any outside validation, to not be worried about what other people are doing, whether they're cheering you on or not. Like, you're happy, you're good. Like
Yeah.
whatever you're going through, like, I mean, you think about it in life, we're the only person we've got the whole way through. So we might as well enjoy who we are, where we're going.
Yeah. And a aligned life, which is what we're all striving, it's not
Mm-hmm.
a fantasy, it's just a decision.
Yeah.
And today, like if you're listening to this podcast with us, we're just asking you to make that decision to choose you, right? Like this is this is not an altar call per se, but at the end of the day, like you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a short exercise here, and if you're still listening, please feel free to join in with us. But like this is a time to kind of take that step back and realize I need to rewrite this narrative of myself. So we're going to do an exercise called time to align,
Ooh.
and we're going to ask ourselves 3 questions. Right. All right. First question. What are you currently tolerating in your life that drains you? Second question. What do you want more of? Emotionally, energetically, creatively, pick one. And then finally, if you trusted yourself completely, what would you do next?
I like
So
that.
Vita, let's work through these together.
Yeah.
We'll keep them short and concise for our audience. But
Sure.
what are you currently tolerating in your life that drains you?
Ironically, I'm not sure on this one.
Oh, I caught you off guard. All right, I'll go first. I'll
I
go
was,
first.
I'm like, and I might not even have an answer right now, but I like these
Yeah.
reflective questions because I think this is something good that, like, for us or even viewers, you can revisit this at any point or as many times as you
Absolutely.
want. So yeah, I'm curious to hear what's draining you at the moment.
Excuses for myself and excuses from other people. And not your typical excuses, not your typical, I was busy last night or I forgot.
Yeah.
It's the actionable excuses. Actionable excuses is when you don't necessarily say it, but you show it, right?
Mm.
Hey, I want to do this. Okay.
And
Let
then
me
you
see how you
don't.
move. Let me see how you act. You're not really about that life. You don't really want that, right? And for myself as well, like, yes, I talk to myself, but hey, Case, like, all right, you're gonna do 100 push-ups today, 200 tomorrow. Day comes, I'm chilling, watching TV, hanging out with the fam, which is not bad,
No.
but I'm giving myself excuses every single day, and I've been tolerating it for way too long. Hey, you want to learn how to DJ? Nah, I'll do that later. It's not for me. Nah, I'm good. I don't. No, you're gonna start now, right? You've been talking about AI for the longest. You've been wanting to learn more about that. You're gonna start now.
Yeah.
You're gonna start with this video. You're gonna start with this one thing, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm done with making excuses for how I want to choose my design life.
I like that one. I think mine might end up some sort of play on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yep.
necessarily directly excuses, but I
Yep.
do think there's some version of an inner battle of needing to just get out of my own way.
Yeah.
Because to your point, I do think there's commitments or things I say or want to do for myself or whatever, and it's not happening. And it is hitting a point where to your example that I'm talking about these things and it's like, okay, and there's some things I've made progress in, that I try to recognize those wins as well. But there's other things that it's just like lingering. It's like, you keep saying you'll do this. You keep saying you'd be willing to do this, but are you actually doing that?
Yeah.
No. And so if not, I think also the other point of that is recognizing, I think because I've been so focused on like what brings you energy, what drains you, it's almost like sometimes I'm almost ending up idle longer than I need to as well.
Good point.
Because I'm like, I'm now at the point where like, and this is the reality for me is like, I'm so aware of like, I want to be so intentional with everything that I do, that taking on a different job or doing whatever, like I've always said, like, I'll do whatever it takes. But the reality is I won't. I never said that out loud, but I'm like, I won't, because I'm like, I will do whatever it takes that's in alignment and intentional. And that's different, you know? So as I look at things, it's like, I don't want just any job. I don't want to work with just anybody. And so recognizing how do I make this still go the right direction?
Absolutely. So what do you want more of? And I can answer this quickly. For me, it's creativity. I'm starting to light up more and more when I'm doing more creative things that I enjoy and that I'm truly, truly passionate about. Quick example, had a DJ exam last night for my DJ class, crushed it. DJ name, DJ plug coming soon. But regardless, like it unlocked that flow state of mind for me to where it felt like it was like an out of body experience. I need more of that.
Yes.
I need more of that.
So for that, I feel like for me, it's more creativity, but also just like more peace. And I know that sounds so silly, but like just peaceful of like, we were talking about earlier in the steps of like overthinking and all these other things. And I feel like for me, the more I can find, and peace doesn't have to be like literally in yoga, whatever, which also yoga's not, it's hard. I don't care what anybody says.
It is really hard, especially in Pilates too.
Can't
Pilates
move.
too, yeah.
You're like shaking. But I mean, I guess peace in the sense of learning ways to like calm my mind. And when you talk about creativity, it's funny because to me, I'm like, you know, I reference it like the flow state. I'm like more things like that, you know, whether it's family or a project or something I'm working on. Launching the consistency circle has been huge for me because we've had our first couple calls and it's wonderful. Like you talk about showing up to work, like it does not feel like work. You know, it's part of the business model, but I'm like, I've noticed I'm on these calls and it's just like, it's like us hanging out here. Okay, let's work through some things. Let's talk about it. And I've noticed compared to other things I've done in the past, it does not drain me at all, like not even a little bit. And that's super exciting. So I feel like tapping into more things that can be like that in the future.
Well, I'm glad that I do not drain you. I can probably drain someone else in this house, but not you. So, all right, last one. If you trusted yourself completely, what would you do next? And to me, this comes back to the clarity. Like, it doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from moving towards what makes you feel free and what makes you feel true. So when trusting myself completely, I got to take those steps. And I, you know, like I communicated to you offline, for me, those steps come with others.
Yeah.
And I am a bringer together of people. And I know that would help hold me accountable. I know I have high expectations and goals for myself. And I know I can unite people. So if I trusted myself completely, I got to take those steps towards that. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
I think that's why we get along so well. Cause we are like, that's me too, but I'm more probably vocal where I'm literally like, come with me. It's cool. Let's go. I'll take you with me. Who else do you know? Let's figure this out. I really like this question. I think that is so powerful. If you trusted yourself, what would you do next? And I think I need to make that almost my daily affirmation.
Oh, I like it.
Because as you said that, I was like, it's almost the same idea I heard the other day. I don't remember where, but it was like, how would you, we were talking about networking events and somebody who's maybe shy or you don't necessarily like talking about yourself. And it's like, what would you say if your best friend was introducing you? Or like, what would they say about you? And based off of that, how would you then move in that room, and how would you act? How would you speak after their introduction? And it's like, most of us, it would probably be elevated. And I feel like this is a little bit deeper version of like, if you actually trusted yourself, or like if someone else asked you about them and it was actually you, what would you do? I think I'd be making a lot bigger strides and bigger moves. I think I tend to keep myself small. It's not necessarily the best thing, but we're working through it. That's why we're here. Right? Accountability, having good mantras like this to just snap our mind out of it and go, no, here's where we're headed.
Yep. No, absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of people say I'm working on it. Nope, we're working through it. Right. Yes. So if this message resonates with you today, hit a like, hit the subscribe button, join us today. We got a couple things going on. We have our coaching business that will be rolling out soon. We're going to start the process. So get on the wait list for that. Avita has her social media group. What's it called, Avita?
We have the consistency circle, but I also have one-on-ones as well if you're needing something more specific to you.
Yeah. Yes. So please reach out. Yeah. Hit a like. Join the comments. We reply to any comments and whatnot. So don't forget to subscribe. We're posting more videos and shorts daily. We're really looking to just continue to grow and build this thing. So
absolutely,
enjoy. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks.